everybody. Sorry if you've been tuning in since 5. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty here in the station, but we're back in business. So thanks for bearing with me. I have a great show in store, so it'll all be worth the wait. Hope you guys had a great week. I had a wonderful week. Had a really, really good week. So it's all good here. But today, I'm not going to do a whole lot of chit-chatting. I'm going to get right to it because we are running about 8 minutes behind schedule. So I want to make sure I get everything in that I want to cover today because we have a lot to talk about. So I know you're wondering, like, what does she have on here? So today I have on my little fancy schmancy apron because today is all about cooking. So whether you are a seasoned cook or a novice, I hope that there are lots of tools and lots of information you can learn today because I have a lot to discuss today. So we're going to jump right in. Of course, I have my PowerPoint presentation because it works, y'all. It works. Today's show, the Fabuleux Living Guide to Cooking Basics. So, as you all know, I've told you a bazillion times how much I do love to cook. I told you last week that, all about the grocery shopping thing and everything. And, hey, you got to eat, in order to eat, unless you eat out, you got to cook. And like I said, I love to cook. I come from a long line of amazing cooks. My grandmother, my great aunt, actually my great-great-grandmother, my great aunt, my grandmother, and my mom, and my paternal grandmother as well, and a number of aunts on my dad's side, all really great cooks. So I'm going to tell you what my mother says, and I do agree with this. People say, I can't cook. It's still, if you can read, you can cook. I'm telling you, it really is that simple. If you can read, you can cook. It really is that simple. And just learning some techniques and things along the way. So, first up, I am going to start off the PowerPoint by first telling you just some things that you need to do. So I'm going to tell you what you need to have in your pantry. I know a couple of weeks ago I shared what you needed to have in an entertainer's pantry, but today we're just talking about what a home cook needs to have. And there are a lot of other things, but these are just some of the things that I think that you need to have just to kind of have as a base. So let's jump right in. Hold on, Jay's giving me the finger. This finger. The one finger. Telling me, hold on, Angela. All right, guys. So, stocking your pantry with the essentials. And if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, some of these things are going to be some of the things I discussed in an entertainer's pantry. But these are the things that you need to have in your pantry as a cook. Olive oil, because olive oil is one of the things that you're going to need to as I shared before, to season, season your pans with when you're when you're sauteing, things like that. Olive oil is amazing. And as I also shared with you, olive oil you can also use to sub for butter in cakes. And as I said, I have a wonderful recipe on my blog for olive oil cake. So, little plug there. So, next up, vegetable oil. To fry with, again, to season things, to season your pan with if you're frying anything, vegetable oil. Flour, all-purpose flour, and then you're going to also need self-rising flour too. But, some kind of flour, you got to have that. That's a staple because you need that for so much. Granulated, or also known as white sugar, brown sugar, fresh garlic and onions, balsamic vinegar, pasta, salt, and 2 different kinds of salt, like a sea salt, like a Himalayan sea salt, and a kosher salt. A kosher salt is one that you're going to need to use when you're baking. You don't want to use a sea salt or anything like that when you're baking. You want to use like a kosher salt. And again, as I've said before, like I said about the whole entertaining thing, this is not going to be the last time we're going to talk about this, but this is going to be something I'm going to be doing ongoing, kind of doing a cooking series. Like, I'm thinking I'll probably do it at least once a month. So we'll be going over different things and the difference in different products and things like that. So So sorry everybody, we're having a few technical difficulties here. So bear with us today. Thank you for your patience. I'm just going to keep running through the list because I'm just going to be just telling you what's on the list while we're trying to work out all of our kinks here. Potatoes, canned fish like salmon. Here we are, like tuna and salmon. Great to have on hand because you can easily whip up a tuna salad, or you can do salmon croquettes or anything on the fly. So it's good to have canned fish on hand. Oh, well, I had all-purpose flour. I guess up there I meant self-rising flour. So all-purpose flour again. Cornstarch to thicken any of your sauces and gravies and things like that. Spices, and there are a number of different spices to have on hand. But like I said, they're too numerous to name. But like I said, I'll get into more of the specifics about things as we're marching on with this cooking series. Canned tomatoes, peanut butter, Worcestershire sauce. Always had a hard time saying that. Worcestershire. It's a lot. Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce? Is that how you say that? Is that what you said? No. Worcestershire sauce. Okay. Worcestershire sauce. My audience said yes. Worcestershire sauce. Soy sauce. We're going to move it on. Sriracha hot sauce. Now, I know people have a thing with the whole hot sauce, like, Texas Pete versus Tabasco sauce. I have both at home, depending on how I'm feeling and what I'm cooking or what I'm applying it to. So whatever hot sauce suits your fancy, you definitely want to have that. Tomato paste, lentils, white and red wines are great because you can also use those to add to a sauce. Red wine is great to add to like a spaghetti, like to a marinara sauce. Delicious. You hear my people over here. White sauce is great to add to a pan sauce if you're doing something with like a lemon butter sauce and something like that. So definitely want to have wine on hand, and nuts. So those are in my opinion, the essentials that you should have on hand for cooking. Just so that those are just the basics. And again, I think there's some more things, but I just kind of wanted to give you the basics. And I said, we'll expand upon it as time marches on. One thing I do want to say really quickly too, because again, I only have 55 minutes with you, so I can't cram in everything. However, I wanted you to know too that I'm going to also get into what you need to have as far as equipment for your kitchen, the basic things that you should have to kind of be able to have to put a great meal on the table, the cookware and measuring cups and all that good stuff. So that's something I'm also going to cover as well. So, stick with me. I'm going somewhere with this whole thing. So, next up is, again, when I say, stocking your pantry, that's what I'm talking about, just your dry goods. But then we also have to look at what you have in your fridge. So next up is stocking your fridge with the essentials. And again, some of the things we've already covered when I discussed the entertainer's pantry. So, of course, the basics, all your sundries, eggs, milk, butter, basic. Got to have those things in your fridge. Dijon mustard, mayonnaise, not just for sandwiches, but Dijon mustard is great to add to some vinegar and some olive oil and add your spices, and you have a vinaigrette, so amazing. Half and half, heavy cream, mushrooms, plain yogurt, fresh carrots, fresh broccoli, because you can easily pull together like a side dish for your vegetable medley, for a side to any meal that you're preparing. Parmesan and cheddar cheeses. And again, these are just basics. You can always expand and have your brie and your, camembert and any other cheese that you like. But these are just the basics to have on hand. Fresh herbs. Herbs, as anyone that does cook, herbs can tend to go bad really fast, unfortunately. So one of the hardier herbs to have on hand, fresh herbs to have on hand, is parsley. And you can do a lot with parsley, because parsley you can add, you can just cut some parsley up finely and use that to finish a dish. So parsley can go a long way in a lot of different things too, and you can add that. You can add it to sauces. So parsley is a good fresh herb to have on hand. That's gonna have a longer shelf life. Fresh green beans, lemons, and spinach. So those are all of the things that I think one needs to stock their refrigerator with. Next, these are all the essentials that I think you need in your freezer. Now, for your freezer, we have bread. Yes, bread. And let me tell you why with bread. Now, if you're like me, normally bread doesn't make it to the freezer because I love bread. Bread's my friend. I really love bread. My hips don't like bread, but I like bread. I do. I really do. I love bread. So bread is good because what I've been trying to do is so I don't go through a loaf in like a week. What I've been trying to do is like put half of the loaf in the freezer. And then you won't be able to use that for a fresh sandwich or anything, but you can always pull the bread out of the freezer and use it for toast, So you can already have some toast and it'll already be stocked in the freezer. And the good thing about it is that it won't go bad because if you kind of leave it out, on the counter or in your bread box or where, or have you in your pantry, it's going to eventually go bad if you don't eat bread fast enough. So this is great if you're not like me and you don't go through bread as fast. You can always put it in the freezer and you can remember you can have that bread for toast in the mornings. So you can just grab that out as is. You don't have to defrost it or anything and plop it right into your toaster, which is amazing. And another good thing for bread is one of my studio guests is going to be mad that I'm saying this, but bread is also great to have like baguettes or croissant in the freezer because then you can have it for bread pudding. He asked me, hey, a good friend of ours, Wayne, was like, how come are you going to make bread pudding today? I'm like, no, I've already covered that on the show. He was like, oh man, make it again. And I'm like, no, we've already covered bread pudding. But keeping bread on hand in the freezer is great because you can do it for things like that when you just want to have it for bread pudding or something like that. So it's great. Next up, bacon, sausage, because, those are just basic things that you'll need for meat, for as a breakfast meat. And sausage you can always add to, like, if you have like Italian sausage, you can always add that to a marinara sauce and put it over pasta, and so you have a meat sauce that you can make for your pasta dish. Berries, as I said last week, frozen berries are great for smoothies. Frozen peas, shrimp. It's good to have frozen shrimp on hand, especially if you're trying to eat lighter and things like that. And you can easily throw that into a stir fry. You can put it in, you can make a quick shrimp scampi. Anything you can make really quickly on the fly like that with shrimp, it's great. And it's okay if it's frozen, because I know some people are like, oh, but I like to buy it fresh. Most of the time when you get most of your seafood anyway, when you get it, most of the time it's already been frozen. So you may as well just buy it frozen anyway. Packs of meat, if you're a meat eater, pork chops or lamb chops, your ground beef, your ground chicken, turkey wings. It's good to have all of those different meats on hand. And what I like to do is I like to take it apart, and because it's just me, and put it into smaller packages, especially if I've bought a big pack from Costco or something like that. You just divide it up and then wrap it individually and then place it into a freezer bag. Make sure you're putting it in a freezer bag, not a storage bag, because it won't last as long if you're putting it in a storage bag. That won't work in the freezer. Not over a long period if you want to, make sure that it lasts for a good little bit of time and doesn't get freezer burned. Chicken stock, that's another good thing. Chicken stock is a base for soups, a lot of pan sauces, your gravies. So it's good to make fresh, homemade chicken stock. And that's something that I'll get into also, that I'll make. And I'll have to put that on the blog, because that's a good one. Because if you make your chicken stock, like take a nice Sunday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon, take a couple of hours while you're doing other things around the house and simmer everything that you need to make a fresh chicken stock or vegetable stock. If you don't eat meat, you can also do this and make a fresh vegetable stock. Put it in those, those containers that you get, like the quart-sized plastic containers that you can get, like when they give you things at the deli. Just put it in those and then stock it away in the freezer. And then whenever you need it, just pull it out whenever you need it for a sauce. It beats buying chicken stock like in a container or vegetable stock in a container. Nothing tastes better and is more flavorful than your own chicken stock. So that's definitely something that's a plus to have. Ice cream gelato. Like I said, just because, hey, if you're making a dessert and you need something to put on top, to make it, a la mode, you have ice cream or gelato, so you can do that. So it's great to have that on hand. Puff pastry. Puff pastry is great for both savory dishes and for sweet dishes because you can use a puff pastry. You can use that chicken stock, some chicken, those vegetables, the peas, the carrots, everything that I've already discussed. Make yourself a roux, and we'll get into all the terminology, but make yourself a roux, and then put all of that in a pot, and then make yourself an amazing homemade chicken pot pie. Say what? The bomb. And then put that puff pastry on the top as a crust. Delicious. I mean, amazing. That same puff pastry can also be used to fill with fruit, and then you can make turnovers or something like that for a dessert. So puff pastry is amazing. Same thing with pie crust. Having homemade pie crust in your freezer so you can just use it on the fly when you need it is the best. I mean, it really is the best. So good to have that when you need it, so you don't have to say, oh my gosh, I want to make a pie, but I don't feel like putting it. All you have to do is simply take it out, defrost it, roll it out. You're ready to roll, literally. Cookie dough. That's another good thing I like to have on hand. Last year, I prepared some cookies, some chocolate chip cookies for my son's tailgate. We had a big tailgate to do. I mean, we were having like 70 people for our tailgate. It was here at FedEx Field. We had a lot of folks. But what I did was I had already made some cookie dough, flash freezed all the cookie, formed it into balls, put it in the freezer, and then I was all set with cookies. I mean, dozens upon dozens of cookies I already had and didn't have to worry about it because I had that cookie dough in my freezer. So amazing. So we're going to quickly, in the interest of time, go through our next set of slides. And again, what I'm going to do too is I'm going to put all of this on the blog this week, so that way anything that I didn't get a chance to cover in detail, I will promise you that I will cover that in the blog. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to the blog, www.fabulousLiving.com. Had to get a quick plug in there, y'all. I haven't been doing a really good job of that, so I need to make sure I'm doing that. I get so caught up in the show. Okay, y'all. So next, these are the things that I think that Fabulous cooks know. These are techniques that every home cook should master. And again, I'm going to run through these really quickly so that we can get to the last segment. I have a lot to cover in the last segment. I have some fun stuff for you. First thing up is, like I mentioned before, making a chicken stock or vegetable stock is essential, like I said, because it is the base for soups and gravies and pan sauces and so many other amazing things. So making a chicken stock is so easy. And once you see how easy it is, I mean, essentially everything that you see there, that's all that's in there, It's amazing. Your herbs, your chicken, celery, carrots, onions, peppercorn, salt is essentially all that you need to make a delicious chicken stock. The next thing that a Fabulous cook should know how to do is sear a steak or chicken. Get yourself a cast iron pan, y'all. I mean, like the kind your grandmama used to have on the stove, at the ready, already seasoned, had been used. She had been using it for years. Cast iron skillet is an essential thing. That's definitely one of the tools or pieces of equipment that I think that every Fabulous cook should have is a cast iron skillet. So yeah, you definitely need to know how to sear a steak or chicken, just to get a nice crust on it, and then you can always finish it off in the oven. But you want to get those sear marks on there. Delicious. Woohoo, is right. Yeah. Next up, make scrambled eggs. I know you're like, something so simple. Everybody knows how to do that. Not everybody knows how to scramble, right? Not everybody knows how to scramble eggs. And my mother could make, I don't eat eggs, but she could make the best eggs, right, Reg? I mean, creamy. I mean, and the key to making creamy, soft, almost custardy scrambled eggs is you want to cook them low and slow. Low and slow. That's the way you want to cook the eggs. Slow and slow, and add a little bit of milk to the eggs. My mom always did that. And you just keep, you know, I'm going to do a little, if I don't even do it here on the show, I'm definitely going to do it for the blog, do a video and put it on the blog about just, you know, scrambling eggs. It's something basic and everybody thinks they can do it, but there's an art to doing it properly. So we'll get into that later. Okay, make a roux is up next. In roux, and I mentioned that earlier, a few minutes ago, making a roux is basic, and it's a foundation of a lot of dishes like mac and cheese, gumbo, that really dark, rich roux. I mean, you got to stir for a long time to get that dark roux, but it's so worth it. And all it is butter and flour. That's all. Cooking is so amazing because I love to cook because I love the science of it all. And I feel like a mad scientist when I'm in the kitchen trying to concoct something and pull it all together. But it's amazing that something that simple, just the base of just the flour and the butter, makes an amazing dish. Like I said, mac and cheese, other creamy soups, like chowders and things like that, all start off with a roux. Who knew? I know, I'm so corny. Anyway, next up, roasting a chicken. Got to know how to roast a chicken. That's, have to do that. And roasting a good juicy bird is basic. Salt, pepper, your fresh herbs, lemon, butter. Those are all of the ingredients you need to make a really nice roast chicken. And again, a roast chicken is going to carry you a long way because you can easily make a roast chicken and have that for your Sunday dinner. Then you can make chicken salad. You can slice it off and put it in salads. You can dice it up and make, what am I thinking about? Like chicken, the pulled chicken, like pulled barbecue chicken. You can do a lot with a roast chicken. Next up, make a marinade. Very important for any kind of protein, whether it's chicken or steak. You need to know how to do a great marinade. And a marinade is, again, essentially all the ingredients you see there, depending on what the flavors are. But it could be, your herbs, your garlic, your peppercorns, lime, brown sugar, soy sauce, Worcestershire, that sauce. I hate saying that word. That's one of the, I love words, as I've told you guys, but that's one of those words I can't say and I don't like it. Okay, sorry, tantrum over. But making a marinade. Marinade is going to make all the difference in your meat because it's going to make it more flavorful, especially if you're marinating something for a number of, as little as 30 minutes will make a difference. I'm telling you. But if you can marinate something for longer, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So it's going to make your dish more flavorful, and it's also going to tenderize your protein as well. So marinades are important. Next up, whipping cream. As I think I shared with you in one of the earlier shows, whipped cream is everything. It really is. Fresh whipped cream is amazing. 2 ingredients will change your dessert. Whipping cream and confectioner sugar, better known as powdered sugar. It's all you need to make delicious, soft, billowy whipped cream. And again, as I said to you all in a couple of shows, you can use whipped cream for so much. It's amazing. So, gotta have that. Whipped cream is important. Gotta know how to whip cream. That's easy. 2 ingredients. And even if you don't have a mixer with a whip attachment, a hand whisk. And you can whisk it yourself. Next up, caramelizing onions. That is something that you should know. Caramelizing onions are a good building block for good flavor. So you definitely want to make sure that you know how to caramelize. I mean, again, y'all know I have food issues. I've shared that with you before. But I don't eat caramelized onions. But I like the flavor of onions. I don't want to taste, I know that sounds so weird. But I like the flavor of onions because onions do add a lot of flavor to a dish. So you've got to know how to caramelize onion. So that's another thing you got to know how to do. Next up, and last that I have on our techniques, is sauteing vegetables and proteins. So important that you know how to do those things, because pan frying, one, is healthier and it's quicker, you know, than you making all these different dishes. I mean, like I said before, if you can just make something that's a one pan dish and you can whip it all together and fry it in a pan with just applying like a little bit of whatever you use to cook, whether it's olive oil or vegetable oil or coconut oil or grapeseed oil, whatever it is you use, and just put your vegetables and your protein. I mean, that's a meal in one pan. All you have to do is, if you wanted to have like a starch, you know, or carb to go with it, then that would be the only thing you would need to put in another pan. So those are the things that I think that a fabulous cook should know, the basics. So that's where we are. And those are just a couple of the things that I think that you need to know to master your kitchen. So next up, let's get cooking. I'll be right back in a few moments. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, I could not do a show about cooking and not actually cook. Okay, sorry. This is new to me. I've only done this one time, and I think on the first show. Jay, am I looking in the right camera? Hi. So, Saturday is Cinco de Mayo, so I thought, why not whip up some shrimp fajitas live on the air? So bear with me. This is my first time, I said, cooking on the air, so that's something new and exciting. So what we're going to do is I want to do something super quick and super fast. So I already have a little bit of olive oil in this cast iron skillet. I'm going to apply some shrimp really quickly here on the side. And this is just enough to make maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 small fajitas. I want that to get nice, and so we're going to put that on one half of the skillet. Then I already have like some peppers, green peppers, some yellow peppers, some red peppers, and I brought 2 onions, but we're going to do the red onion. Okay. Then I have this great Mexican seasoning here. If I can open it. Should have already opened that. Sorry, y'all. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that seasoning on top of the shrimp. And it's great because it already has like the chilies, the salt, molasses, cumin, cocoa, garlic, nutmeg, cinnamon, coriander, all the great seasonings already in there. So we're going to kind of let that kind of do its thing over there. And then over here, I'm going to have my brother here as being my little sous chef today. Hi, Reggie. He's like, hey. And here, we're going to make some corn tortilla chips. What's up, pie? Again, I think I told you guys in the first show, there is no need to buy tortilla chips in the store when you can make your own in a matter of seconds. I just have a little bit of olive oil in my pan. You can use vegetable oil too, but I have a little olive oil in the pan. I cut up my tortillas, you know, the round, and I use the small. You want to get the smallest one. Hold on. And I like to use the legit Mexican tortillas. I don't like to use like the ones that are made here in the States. I mean, they taste the same, but I like to use like the real deal. So this is the brand that I use, La Banderita. And they're corn tortilla chips. And they are the small size. I don't know what the dimension is, but anyway, that's what we want to use for the corn tortilla chips. And then simply apply a little bit of sea salt, and you're done. That is all you have to do to make some fabulous corn tortillas. And here I'm just checking back on everything over here. And this is up high. You want to kind of have it on medium-high heat, but bear with me because this is the first time that I am using this countertop burner deal, so you all are my guinea pigs. But I love Mexican food. Mexican food is one of my favorites. I love Italian food and Mexican food. I can eat that every day if I could. You know, at least once a week I usually have both. And it's great. And fajitas are great because you can simply make them during the week. And it's a quick meal that you can easily get on your table without a lot of fuss. So, I'm going to check on our chips here. They're not quite ready just yet. Now, let me tell you, too, it doesn't take long to make corn tortilla chips. So, You know, you want to kind of watch them. But I think because this burner is smaller and it's not cooking quite as fast. You guys, we may have to see the finished results on Instagram or on my blog, but I'm just going to keep moving along here. So let me tell you about some other things while we're waiting on everything else to cook that I did here. I was going to make salsa, but I decided to buy salsa. And let me tell you, if you want a good store-bought salsa, Trader Joe's has the bomb Serrano Fresca salsa. And if you like a little bit of kick, it's like restaurant quality. Right, Reg? I turned my brother onto this. C. Yes, thank you, Senor. Senor Jones. Gracias. It's delicioso. No, but it is. Oh, that was good, Reg. But it really is really good. And I turned my brother on to it. Now he doesn't even have a Trader Joe's near him. He goes all the way to Virginia to go get some salsa, so it's really good. And also, you want to finish, you know, any of your dishes with fresh lime juice. You know, have a squeeze of lime on your fajitas. That is really good. And then I also made an avocado crema. So basically, what I did was I put a whole avocado, a little bit of sour cream, some sea salt, and lime juice in a blender and whipped it up. And we have delicious avocado crema to put on top of the fajitas. So let's see how we're cooking here with the chips. Okay, the chips are rolling along. Like I said, if you're making these at home, it wouldn't take as long. It's just because I'm doing this on this burner. But they're going to be really good, nice and crisp. And add a little bit of, no, I need you here, sous chef. Stay put. Thank you. Stay here and do your job. Earn your meal. You too. So, we're going to add just a little bit of water, just a little bit of water, just a little bit to the fajitas. Now I'm just going to toss everything together. We're going to toss it all together and add just a little more seasoning here. Then we're going to add a little bit of cornstarch so it can kind of thicken up the sauce that we have going, so it'll form a little bit of a sauce. Uh-oh. Sorry. Darn it. Get in there. Okay. Just a little bit so we can thicken up the sauce. Just a little bit. All right. Okay, sous chef. Thank you. I'm just going to have enough time for these. And then we already have sous chef number 2. Can you hand those to me? The other chips that we already have prepared?
For the finished result.
Yes. Sous chef 1. Thank you, sous chef 2.
Coming in.
And here we are with the delicious. Which one are we doing? This one, Jay? Okay. I can't figure out which camera to use. There we are. Corn tortilla chips, people. Whew, this is a lot of work. Hold on to those, young man. Okay. So now we're going to get back to the fajitas. And unfortunately, we probably are. I'm going to have to wrap it up, everybody, because we only got 4 minutes, and this is not going to be quite done because this doesn't get hot enough. And that was my fault for planning purposes, but I will take plenty of pictures and make sure this gets posted on the blog or on Instagram, one of the two. So there you have it, everybody. We're all set for a wonderful Cinco de Mayo meal with our homemade corn tortilla chips with salsa, and we have our shrimp fajitas that we're going to have with some avocado crema and a little bit of salsa if you want to put a little salsa on top, or pico de gallo. And then we're going to finish it, which is, I'll make sure this gets posted on the blog too, but to make it a complete meal, what I did was I also made some key lime bars, which are to die for. So we have a complete Cinco de Mayo meal. So we're going to keep on sizzling the fajitas here, and like I said, look for the finished result on Instagram. Definitely check out Instagram. And again, if you're not following me, please follow me on Instagram at Fabuleux Living. Same thing on Facebook, and on the blog, www.fabulousliving.com. So check out the pictures in a few, guys. I'll definitely have those posted. Have a wonderful week. Blessings.